Hey, it's SickBoy from the Gaminganarchist Collective and welcome to the Anarchic Eye for the 12th of December 2013. Now, apologies for being offline the last couple of days. I've been ill, I've been off work, so I've got a fair few bits of stories to catch up on, so today's going to probably be a long one. I've tried to trim as many stories out as possible, but there's a lot to cover, so let's get that ball rolling. Well, I can't very much start without dealing with the copyright situation. I'm going to cover this as briefly as I can because there are just literally hundreds of videos of people going on and getting very emotional and or going into great amounts of detail. What's been going on is that for people who are partnered to networks, they're the ones who have been affected because those who aren't partnered to networks have always been affected by this. So the situation that people are talking about where there are copyright ID strikes, people are having their videos pulled, people are having monetization removed, people are having bogus claims, disregarding fair use policy, utilising the use of music in games in regard to ban let's plays. This is something that has been now affecting essentially the small guys who have gone with partnerships, and there's a lot of them, and of course the bigger guys as well. The most notably, Angry Joe really lost his shit today because he had something like over 60 videos had the monetization removed and have been blocked worldwide for viewing. So for him, these are all like over 1 million views each apparently, so they're big deal. That he's obviously concerned about his income. Now, a couple of points really, just to get things clear here. One, now the bigger channels are now pretty much in the same boat as the smaller ones. I, for example, although I now have over 3,000 subscribers, I haven't gone with a network, as a lot of people would do. And I have had copyright bans. As you recall, a few months ago I did a trailer where I dubbed over the Thief trailer. I did the same thing with Battlefield 4. What happened? Instantly banned globally. I dubbed over the entire thing. I did the whole thing with a comedy action film voiceover, and it was banned. EA wouldn't have it. Couldn't even put it up. It wasn't even a matter of monetization. It was a matter of I could not put it up at all because it fit the trailer. Now, that's ridiculous on the grounds that a trailer is meant to promote and advertise a product, and you really shouldn't be banning the content from an advert because it's free advertising. I mean, that is free advertising. That's not even the same as the argument about playing cutscenes. It's an advert. I used your advert. Granted, I was mocking your advert, but you didn't know that. So that's frankly ridiculous, and it has been going on, and it is now affecting that they've forced YouTube to split the channels. So now you have managed partners and affiliate partners. The managed partners are essentially now the upper echelons and those who are going to be treated as normal partners have always been, and then the others are bumped down to essentially being no different to everybody else. So from their perspective, of course, they're giving a cut to their network, and they're not getting anything in return. They're getting no different support than, say, I am doing this entirely independently. So obviously it's very, very vocal. It's a big problem for people. However, there is a bit of an issue here that I will raise up. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I would like to see fair use be put into place. However, on a legal standpoint, we're in a real grey area here because this is you can't make analogies on this. I put it on Twitter ages ago. This morning saying people stop using analogies. Analogies are pointless. You can't use similes or analogies to explain this situation. This situation is unique. Absolutely unique. The law does not cover it. That is why it's in a grey area. Now, I feel bad for those people who are losing essentially their livelihood. There are those who have their whole livelihoods at risk here. That sucks for them. It really, really does. I would say you should have a safety net, because this is such a risky thing to have as a business model. You're not under contract. It's not like with stuff you're working for a television network. They put you under contract. They pay you to create a series for them. That series is then paid and then is broadcast, and then the views come in later. This is a very different business model. What you're doing is creating work to demand and hoping enough people want to watch it. And that can go away like that. You could lose your popularity like that. You could all of a sudden do something dickish and just go. People lose subscribers all the time for having a point of view that people don't like. I know I've lost subscribers from having a contentious point of view. I've normally gained more than I've lost on any given day, but the fact of the matter is, I've had a strong opinion on something, someone's gone, oh, fuck you, and unsubscribed. If you're a big enough channel, enough people do that, you can lose a huge chunk of your revenue. It happens. And then, not to mention the fact that you are on shifting sand. Legally speaking, your business model doesn't have a precedent to be protected under law. That's why they can do what they do. That is why it is such a risk. I don't like that it's happening, but it is happening. There are some companies that have come out and said that they don't want these automatic content ID matches and that they will reinstate if you contact them. So companies like Blizzard have said, come back, we'll reinstate. Other companies, however, have said, we will allow you to have videos but not monetization. Companies like Nintendo have said they will reinstate claims and they will monetize their videos, your videos, for themselves. So there is a big complex list right now of where you can use footage from, where you can't use footage from, particularly if you're interested in monetization. Now, I know monetization is a dirty word on the internet. I know that the idea of someone making money offends people. I get that. They don't like the idea of profiteering, but at the same time, profiting is healthy. You shouldn't be spending huge amounts of your time for nothing. I mean, certainly if it's your only income. If it's your only source of income, you should damn well be making money off it. Otherwise, what's the point? Why would you bother doing it? I mean, some people do it for sort of charitable means. Some people don't care about the money they earn. Some people do it and they will whore for as much money as they can get. This is a problem. It's a legal unknown, and right now it's really too soon to comment on the legalities of this and the right and wrong, except for the fact that I have sympathy for those guys who are suddenly in the same boat as guys like John Candy 45, who, if anyone's aware of his stuff, he does a lot of speedruns and Let's Plays, particularly does DMC and Devil May Cry comparison gameplay and what have you, and he has been hit by so many. He showed me on Twitter today, his computer nearly crashed with the amount of tabs he had open in Chrome on purely just Capcom Content ID matches. Huge amounts. Obscene. Like almost his entire video catalogue is getting lambasted, and has been all year. Now all of a sudden, the Angry Joes of this world are in the same boat, and now they are getting things done. Now I hope that these big guys who do have the clout and they do have the money behind them can actually affect positive change and affect a actual solidification and a decision on the law, set a precedent one way or the other. Because let's face it, back in the old day when Napster was still not illegal, even though it was kind of obviously illegal, I used to download stuff over dial-up through Napster, and then all of a sudden it's illegal. No more Napster. Now every time you download stuff, it's a crime. That was the way things went. Will gameplays go the same way? I hope not. Could they? Yes. They really, really could. Without those, with the resources and the power and the audience putting forward their case and having a legal precedent set, we are entirely at the lack of mercy of the copyright organisations that are pushing this. Not necessarily the copyright holders, but the MPAAs and companies, organisations like that are out to squeeze everybody. These are the people behind SOPA. These were putting pressure on companies like Google to change their algorithm and be more aggressive against content infringement. So we can only see what comes from here. Well, moving on to some good news. Good old GOG have started their winter sale. Those of you who haven't got a copy of Fallout 1, Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics, best get yourself over to GOG. They're giving the games away for free. Now, for the most part, it's an enticement to get you to register for their website. Personally, I'm happy to say, go for it. GOG have been very, very vocal about their absolutely no DRM policy. And that is nothing but good for gamers. If you buy old budget titles through Steam, I think you're being a fool to yourself. Certainly with regards to the things that, the patching issue and what have you, with modern games, isn't really there with the older titles. So I don't see why you aren't going to say GOG, because you could almost certainly, even if you're paying slightly more than Steam on occasion, you are getting it entirely DRM free, and that is an absolutely great thing. And sticking with GOG, I'd just like to go for a couple of seconds into their new policy. One thing I think that is kind of moot, but is also a very important step forward that I hope will push forward to the rest of the industry. And it's something that even EA have been putting in place. GOG have put in a returns policy on digital content. This is good stuff that we really need to be aware of this as consumers. This is really pro for us. What they're saying at GOG, if you buy a game and within 14 days you bought it by mistake or you don't want it anymore and haven't downloaded it, you can get it back for a full refund. They also say that if you're having technical problems that aren't covered by their support page and they can't resolve it, again, you can get a full refund. This is really good news. I mean, with regards to GOG, you can abuse this system. You absolutely can. But that said, all games on GOG are DRM free anyway. So those who really want to pirate games that are on GOG, for example, any of the Witcher games are always going to be on GOG. They are piratable. If you want to pirate them and not give them money, you can. They put it on their hands up and go, we can't stop you. You're on an honour system here. Now, I am personally going to spend my money on my titles. I'm not forcing you under any morality to say what you should or shouldn't do. I'm personally going to pay for my titles, and given the choice, I'm going to go with the company with the better consumer policies. So with regards to these titles, I'm going to stick with GOG for the most part. This is a really positive policy. And hopefully Steam will have something in the past. I mean, Steam is so much of it is all early access and alpha builds. And there's a risk there. This pre-buying is a real risk. You have no idea what the final product's going to be. In some cases, it may change dramatically. You're essentially funding the development process. And if you're happy with that, you're aware that that is a risk. And, but you can't get your money back if you think it's shite. That's the way it is. So I fully endorse, and I'm so happy to see GOG following suit, and even companies like Audible, Amazon are doing the same thing. You download an audiobook, don't like it, return it. This is really good shit. I'm glad to see these policies start to take effect. I'm glad to see people start to treat digital content as a real commodity, because it is a commodity. This is flying in the face of people who will gladly say that all software is a license, therefore there is no ownership. This is transferring those rights to you. You should not be fighting against this. You should be gladly grabbing it with both hands and pulling it towards you and saying thank you, because this is what will make us be interested in going digital in the future, for those who aren't. This is the sort of policies we need. We deserve them as the people paying. So, those who start offering it, I would personally suggest that's where you go take your business. Well, with the release of Dragon's Quest VIII, the PS2 classic, onto iOS, Square Enix have yet again screwed the pooch with their digital pricing. It's amazing how much they fucked this up. They are selling a PS2 game for $27 on iOS. Okay, on the same day, San Andreas came out on iOS. One of the biggest selling PS2 games. And it was selling $6.99. Square Enix, what don't you understand about how to compete in the mobile marketplace? Your price points are insane. You are selling you have some of the best commodities. Some of your old Final Fantasy games are so good, and you are selling them at this ridiculous price. Everyone who has an iOS device should have at least one of the Final Fantasy games, but they won't because the prices are fucking ridiculous. $27 for a PS2 RPG on iOS. That is absolutely fucking insane. As I mentioned about pre-buying games that have not been made, and I was talking about Steam, here we go. Shit has hit the fan with Mighty No. 9. This is so disconcerting to see this happen from both sides. This is a fucking slap in the face. What has apparently happened is a backer who lives in Japan, who is dating one of the developers or one of the artists or whatever with regards to the Mighty No. 9 game. Now, she posted some meh artwork saying that she'd like to see a female character. Personally, I think great. Or even better, to change Beck into a female character. Now, that has pissed a lot of people off. Now, I'm going to go out here and say why I don't like it before anyone starts jumping down my throat. I don't like it because Beck is meant to be as close to IP abuse to Mega Man as possible. If you turn it into a female character, or in a way that it doesn't resemble Mega Man enough, that's a kick in the tits. People funded this game on the grounds of it is as good as a new Mega Man game. They want to see a character resemble X. If you don't do that, that's a fuck up. That is a PR fucking disaster. That's why I have a huge problem with the fact that they took this woman and they hired her to be their community manager and work on the artwork. Now, she appears to be a very with regards to sort of feminist, she has some, certainly, she's the sort of person who will go on about gender pronouns, about that it is a major issue that you refer to a boy as a boy and a girl as a girl, and that sort of thing that really pisses people off. That is very much her position. She has a lot of stuff like that. And, of course, people were digging through her Twitter feed and finding all these tweets and going, who the fuck are you? You're an annoying ultra-feminist. She then made her account private. She is now moderating. She is now the English moderator of the Mighty No. 9 Kickstarter page. This is just a huge mismanaged disaster. Because what we have on two sides here. On one side, we've got people who are genuinely Mega Man fans who are pissed off at the idea of somebody who turns out to not be a fan of Mega Man and have not really played any of the Mega Man games, want to change the character that is meant to be, for all intents and purposes, Mega Man, into a different character. That is pissing them off, okay? Those people have every right to be pissed off. On the other hand, you have people who are just livid that someone who is a feminist is involved in the game. Okay, those people, push those to the side because those are extreme nut jobs. The same reason that push those to the side who just want to see this character not resemble the character it's meant to resemble. That's fucking insane as well. So what then you have on two sides here is you have in the middle, where actually the intelligent conversation needs to happen, you have those who say the character should reflect Mega Man. Now, all the artists, all the developers on the title are meant to be aficionados of the Mega Man series. This person is not, has never been involved and is not interested in the series, and you want somebody who has got a history with the character design based in the Mega Man series in order to do all the artwork for this game. Or at least under the direction of those people. And then on the other side, you have people who look at the people on the far other side, same way really. This is how these arguments always happen. You have people in the middle look at the extreme on one side, and then people in the middle look at the extreme on the other side, and then they argue with each other when both have got valid points. The valid point being the fact that she's a woman, the fact that she's a feminist should really be irrelevant to the fact she got a job because she knew people who worked there. That happens to a lot of people. That is, nepotism happens. Okay, that's not a problem. The problem being that she has no interest in the series necessarily and wants to change the character to what the backers don't want. It's not about feminism, it's not about empowering women, it's not about misogyny. In that pure point there, it's about not dicking around with the character. That's the point. Ignore the misogynists, ignore the misandrists who just want to treat this game as some kind of competition. And lo and behold, articles are flying left, right and centre of both extreme views saying anyone who has a problem with this woman is a sexist, and anybody who doesn't, you know, who's not open to any kind of change, these people who want to change are all psychotic ultra-feminists. The lot of you in the extremes, fuck off. Let's the people who actually have an intelligent thing to say make the point. The point should be the character should stay true to as close to a design to Mega Man X as possible. You want to make a female character? Do it. Please do it. Have many different playable characters, but have the main protagonist resemble Mega Man. Otherwise, the people who funded this game shouldn't have paid a penny for it, because they paid for it as a Mega Man successor. They paid for it because it was promised to give you the Mega Man experience, and they want to see a character resemble X. If you don't, they have every right to be fucking livid with you. Good job, Microsoft, you absolute douchebags. A few weeks ago, I reported that with the PSN launching in the UK, the digital prices on the PS4 were significantly higher than the Xbox One. That was a real boon when it came to digital gaming on the Xbox One compared to the PS4. What has Microsoft done in the interim? upped their prices by $5 a title, £5 a title. So now the games are on par because Microsoft upped their profits. Great. This is what happens when it comes to competing companies and one company does a bit of a dick move and you don't hit them hard enough. What happens is they kind of waver, they drop a bit, and then their competition equalises and they both run off skipping and laughing. This is a pure example of large corporations taking advantage. There is no reason for the price of these digital titles to have raised by £5. That's mental. Thanks for that, Microsoft. It's a dick move. Well, sticking with the Xbox One, it turns out that the full capacity of the 500 gig hard drive for game installations is 362 gigabytes. So just so you're aware, those people with the machine, once you approach 362 gig, that is when you're going to run out of storage space. Okay, so don't be under the illusion that you have anywhere near the 500 gig that you have, because of course a lot of that is dealt with cache, and also it's dealt with the operating system, so that's how much you have for storage space. Thankfully you are able to expand to external hard drives, however you can't replace the one in your machine. Well, the NSA have been doing their thing and slightly amused to learn that one of the things they've been doing with regards to their snooping of the internet is they've been sending agents undercover into World of Warcraft and into Second Life in order to find terrorists and undesirables. For anybody who has seen Four Lions, all I could think of was the Puffin Party website where all the jihadis are going on the Puffin Party and they're talking to saying they're going to talk to the Emir's Puffin and shit. Fucking hell. I mean, it's entirely unsurprising to me that they were going to do that. They're going to plant moles in these things. If they think it's a hotbed of terrorism, and of course there is free chat in these games, so it does make sense that there are, for example, party speak where people could use it as a method of communication. It is a viable place that you can go. It just sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous. Well, Turn 10, the developers of Forza 5, have come out and said how very upset they are at the response they've had from the gaming community. And I'm delighted that they are. Because the fact of the matter is, they've come out and said, we wanted to make a great gaming experience, we wanted to make the fans happy, and we have made people furious. Yeah, damn right you fucking did. This is about time that the industry starts to realise that you can't start pushing these ridiculous megatransactions on people. I'm not calling them microtransactions anymore, based on a comment I got a couple of days ago. I can't remember who it is, so shout yourself out for the credit. If I can, I'll stick an annotation if I recall who it was. Mentioned that these things are megatransactions, and I think that that's something we should go with. When the price of a microtransaction comes anywhere near 50% of the price of the game, it's a fucking megatransaction. And when it's more than the price of the game, too right, it's a fucking megatransaction. So yeah. They didn't think there was anything wrong with what they were doing and they miscalculated. Dear Christ, did they miss the pulse of their audience. And it's about time developers learnt what consumers want. This is why being vocal is so very, very good. So keep up the complaints when bullshit like this happens. Sticking as I will for the rest of the show with regards to microtransactions, Gran Turismo 6, its first week on sale, sold only 20% of what GT5 sold. This is again what happens when you fuck over your consumers. Now you can make the point that it might be the fact that it's a cross-generational title, that it may not have had quite as much advertising as GT5. Irrelevant. As far as Sony are concerned, they have seen an 80% drop in sales in the first week. If the UK is anything to go by as a global pattern, that is a huge amount of lost sales. This is again very good things. People choosing to vote with their wallets. That is terrific news, I think, and again helps send the message that we will not stand for this mega transaction bullshit. And finally, for those of you who do have GT6 but aren't interested in the mega transactions, if you still have patch 1.01, do not connect your machine to the internet and do this for me, for my own enjoyment. There is a glitch that allows you to create infinite money. You can have enough money to buy the ridiculous XJ13. So the Jaguar that's costing £119 and 140 US dollars, you can get it. You can get enough money through a glitch in the system. The link's in the description field. If you still have patched to version 1.01, you can use this money glitch and buy every fucking car you can. Do it. I think it would be deeply satisfying to see people driving around with these cars, see people having them on their system, playing around with them, having fun, and not having paid the extortionate amount of money. And I know that this technically means you are losing out on a lot of the gameplay. And I said before that grinding isn't a good thing. Grinding can be a good thing if the game is not built around monotonous grinding. If grinding is in place of paying, that's not good grinding. If it's about leveling up by working hard, that can be fun. When I say grinding isn't good, I mean grinding in lieu of paying money. That means that they've designed the game around boring you into paying. So in this case, take full advantage and buy as many cars in that game as you can before they patch it out. Anyway, guys, you've been looking through the 2020 vision of the Anarchic Eye. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys later.